Good morning. Today's Summer of Psalms devotional is from Psalm 99 and 100. And I think today it's going to address one thing that the youth have said a lot when we're in the Summer of Psalms series, and that is that it's not as straightforward to understand and apply as Proverbs. Now, there are certain reasons for this. Proverbs is much more applicable, do this, not that. But Psalms is, by its nature, poetry and music. But today, we really are going to see how Psalms are going to be very applicable to your life if you take the time to not just read through it, but think through it, digest it, understand it. So each verse in Psalm 100, to me, packs a punch. So let's start in 100 verse 1. It says, "Let the whole earth shout triumphantly to God." So we can stop there and say, what does it mean when the whole earth, like who or what, and what is it called to do? The whole earth is called to shout triumphantly to God. Next, serve the Lord with gladness. How do we serve the Lord with gladness? So the first question is, are we serving the Lord? What does it mean to serve the Lord? What does it look like in my life? What is God asking me to serve? And then secondly, if I am serving the Lord, am I doing it with gladness or am I doing it begrudgingly? Am I doing it because I enjoy serving the Lord in the things that I do? Or am I doing it because I feel like I'm obligated to do that and I dread, waking up on Sunday morning or going to church on Sunday night to serve the Lord? And then how do I change that about myself? What do I need to do? Next, in verse 3, acknowledge that the Lord is God. He made us and we are His. Man, if we just focus on that verse for a week, how do I acknowledge that the Lord is God in all aspects of my life, in society, in my finances, in my relationships with my friends at school, in my relationships with my friends at church? And then the second part of that is, and acknowledge that He made us and we are His. So how do I acknowledge that God made me and that I'm His? What does it mean to be His? How do I let people know that I'm His publicly? What about my obligation as a Christian on social media? What should I be posting? What shouldn't I be posting? So the implications as you think through these verses are so huge. And then finally in 4, enter His gates with thanksgiving and His courts with praise. Now, are these literal gates and courts? Not today, not in the modern sense, because God's no longer in the temple. But what does it mean to enter His gates and His courts with thanksgiving and praise? Does that mean in prayer? How do I enter God's presence in prayer? How do I enter God's presence when I'm reading the scripture? Is it in thanksgiving and praise? How do I enter church on a Sunday morning? Is it with thanksgiving and praise? And if not, how do I change those things? So we're not just looking to make ourselves feel guilty, but we're looking to say, okay, what do I need to do to get me where I need to be? All right, so I hope you found this helpful. And I hope you think through and talk through these things with your student and help them understand that Psalms is very applicable. It might not just be like, do this, then this, but when you think through it and really process it, there's a lot to pick from it and apply to your life today. See you tomorrow.